Well, LeBron James is averaging close to a 30-point triple-double in these NBA Finals, but it's Anthony Davis that leads all players in points, rebounds, blocks, and field goal percentage. So I want all of you guys to answer this question, but Chuck, let's start with you. Who do you think is going to win Finals MVP? Let's go Chuck, C-Web, and Grant on this one in that order.
Well, I just want to say first, I want to congratulate Jared Greenberg on his anniversary. I talked to his wife, Morgan. She said being married to Jared is like a walk in the park, Jurassic Park. She's glad he's in the bubble. She is so glad he's in the bubble.
Oh, man, that is so wrong, Chuck. We thought you were being nice, to Jared, but you just threw him under the bridge talking about Jurassic Park.
Hey, listen, I love half man, half makeup. He's the best guy we got.
You think Jared puts more gel in his hair or makeup on, Chuck? That's the last question I got for that one then.
Hey, let me tell you something. If I knew what gel he used, I would invest in that company. So let me tell you something. How many shipments of gel you think he got into the bubble?
Jared's here to defend himself.
I love you, Jared.
Business together, Chuck. I love you too,
yes,
Chuck.
Let's do it. Hey, listen, Mr. Miles, can you repeat Anthony Davis' stats to me again, what you just said?
Okay, he's leading the Finals in points, rebounds, blocks, and field goal percentage, and that includes 60% from three-point range and 33 points per game, Chuck. 11.5 rebounds.
So is that a trick question you're asking me, who gonna get it or who deserves it?
Who is going to win it?
If anybody, I'm saying, if anybody else in the world had those stats you just said, you would not be asking me that question. So listen, I think it's the sentimental vote is gonna go to LeBron because he's amazing, number one. But listen, the reason the Lakers gonna win the championship, and like I say, I don't think this is new to anybody else. Anthony Davis, if we knew if he played like this, they were going to win the championship all along. So I think Anthony Davis deserves it, but I think the sentimental vote is going to go to LeBron.
C-Web, your turn.
I have to agree with the Chuckster. Chuckster-damus. He can definitely predict the future. I definitely agree. AD, and I want to say he has a lifetime career average in the playoffs of plus 30. 30 points, a career average in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think you have to give it to them. Without him, this team doesn't go that way. We've seen them not make the playoffs last year. We've seen that, he just dominates it. The teams don't have a guy to fit his, skill set, his size. And just to end with one very, very important point. I told Morgan not to marry Jared. I told her that she was pretty, that she was smart. I told her not to do it, so I just want to say, Morgan, congratulations on dealing with him for a year. He outkicked his coverage. We're proud of him for that, and happy anniversary to you.
Hey, Jared, I'd be remiss if I didn't say happy anniversary as well. I met Morgan in Chicago, and she's just a great person overall. Grant, we got to get to you on this. Sorry you had to wait so long.
I feel like I'm taking body shots right now.
Who's your Finals MVP, Grant?
Well, first of all, I will agree with Chris and Chuck again. It'll be LeBron. I mean, I think the only way AD gets MVP if he averages 50 and 40 these next two games, because the narrative will be LeBron. Look, LeBron, all the talk of AD in Game 2, and tremendous as he played, LeBron had 33, 9, and 9. And so if we were to end it right now, as great as AD's been, I do think LeBron gets the MVP. And one other thing I just want to say, I had a chance to meet Morgan as well in Chicago. And hey, Bert, put the camera back on me so we can see. And so when I met her, Bert, come back to me, Bert.
Come on back,
producer. Bert. Yeah, okay. So when I met Morgan and Jared, I was in disbelief that Jared actually married her. I had to snap my fingers. I thought she was in a trance and tried to wake her. I said, "Wake up!" But in all seriousness, though, Jared and Morgan, congratulations. 1 year. That's an awesome accomplishment. I want to wish you guys plenty more years of wedding bliss. But wake up, Morgan.
Hey, Jared, we're sticking with you on this
She's still
theme.
sleeping. She's still sleeping.
Hey, Jared, since it's all about you right now in the rings, we're sticking with you on the ring conversation. LeBron James obviously chasing his 4th ring and his 10th finals appearance, but he's also chasing that finals MVP. Want to hear from you guys, and how important do you think that is for LeBron? I mean, you're around him every day now. You're getting extra access to just, the inner workings of this team, but winning a 4th finals MVP, is that as important to him as winning a 4th championship?
Well, I've checked into this and asked a lot of people around the Lakers, and they swear that is not what's important. I would tend to personally disagree. I think that this is very important to LeBron. But I also will counter what the guys were talking about with the narrative here. The MVP of the finals vote is very different than any other voting process we have in the NBA. There's only 5 ballots that go out to members of the media. So it's not like you've got hundreds of people. There was 101 people who voted on the regular season MVP. This is not going to be about narrative. If Anthony Davis leads in all 5 stat categories after a 4-game sweep, I'm telling you, Anthony Davis is going to win finals MVP.
Well, Jared, I say the MVP is Morgan by far, for sure. That's who gets my vote. But other than Morgan in the bubble right now, I'm going with Grant Hill. I'm going with LeBron James. There's no way he's not getting his MVP. And I think Anthony Davis, like Charles and C. Webb said, is probably at this moment playing better. But I think when you look at it right now, guys averaging close to a triple-double, only 2 turnovers. His numbers are not Anthony Davis, but I think everybody's going to go with LeBron James, picking him and selecting him as the MVP.
So, Chuck, you don't think that the 5 reporters who will be voting here will look at the games in front of them here?
Well, Jared, Chris gave me those numbers. If a guy's leading in every statistical category, he probably should be the finals MVP. I mean, listen.
Yeah.
I think it's listen, I didn't know he was leading in every single category. But one last thing I got to say. I talked to Morgan again, and we were talking about the vowels. She said to me,
oh my God.
She said this to me last week, Jared. You know the part where they said to death do your part? She says, damn, he's still alive. She didn't know you were going to be alive this long.
The life insurance at Turner is not all that good.
I feel like your day was better a year ago, Jared, than it is right now.
Yeah,
well,
no question.
Let's get this train back on the tracks here, Chuck. And looking at the Lakers and the ability for this team to hold the lead and win, they're 54-0 so far this season. That includes the playoffs. When leading after 3 quarters, if they continue to do that, they'll be the first team in NBA history to never lose a game, win ahead after 3 quarters. What does that tell you about how this team is able to close out games and their mindset in close games as well?
Well, number one, I just want to thank you, Chris, for having more useless knowledge. And I'm used to Ernie having those stats that are useless in your head. So if they got the lead at the end of 3 quarters now, we should not even play the 4th quarter. You and Ernie are the best at useless knowledge. You know what? Listen. Well, listen, I think there's very few teams. There's very few teams in the history of basketball that had 2 guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I mean, these guys, LeBron's on the Mount Rushmore of the NBA. And listen, Anthony Davis is only 27 years old. I think going to play with LeBron, getting his first championship, gonna kick his confidence. And Grant, C. Webb, and Smitty all know as players. There's a point as a player, whether it's in high school, college, and the NBA, there's a moment somewhere along the way you start believing I'm better than everybody else. And listen, I think Anthony Davis, something has kicked in, and now once he gets his first championship, his confidence is going to be on a whole nother level. So it's going to be very interesting watching this team play, not just these next 2 games, but for the next 5 years, because LeBron still, you know, we don't. At some point, Father Time gonna catch up. But Anthony Davis, I'm not even sure he's in his prime yet. I think he probably got another couple years where his mind and his body all comes together, and then he just like, I'm the best player in the world, and there's nothing these other guys can do about it.
Well, you see the synergy between Anthony Davis and LeBron James on your screen. That's 8 games in the postseason with 25 points and over 50% from the field for both of those guys. So, Grant, recently Dwayne Wade actually chimed in on Twitter saying, like, he agrees that Anthony Davis compliments LeBron James better than any teammate he's ever had. That includes Kyrie and Dwayne when he says it in that way. Do you agree with that assessment, and how interesting is it that D. Wade, our colleague now, chimed in on that?
Yeah, Chris. I mean, it's interesting of all people that coming from D. Wade, and I think Wade is right. I mean, as great as the two of them were those 4 years in Miami, they were very similar in terms of their playing styles. But you have AD and the complementing in terms of his strengths inside. Obviously, he's a great catch-and-shoot player, a great finisher. LeBron, obviously, we know he's great at setting people up. You know, it's reminiscent of other sort of guard-big combinations that have existed in L.A. You think of Kobe and Shaq. You think of Magic and Kareem. You know, you're looking at that and seeing some similarities between the two. The thing that I love, though, is that both of them can really thrive playing their game. And LeBron's putting up gaudy numbers like he always has done in the postseason. But now you see him help lift Anthony Davis, and now Davis is playing at that level as well. And so I like it. I like the fact that they both are great defensive players. They both have a great basketball IQ. And Davis has almost a respect and a reverence for LeBron James. You heard him talk earlier about going to camp as a high school kid and meeting LeBron. You know, he kind of looks up to and respects LeBron James, so that, you know, sometimes that jealousy that can exist between great players, it doesn't exist here. And so I think that plays a role too in the compatibility factor between these two. But I do agree with Dwayne Wade that from a chemistry standpoint, these two probably are the best combination that LeBron's had throughout his career.
See, Webb, I want to look at a little piece of history for the Miami Heat. When they won their first championship back in 2006, they actually lost both of those first 2 games of the finals by more than 10 points. They were down 0-2 and came back to beat the Mavericks 4-2 to win their first championship ever. Is there any way that this Miami Heat team can repeat history and win this championship against the Lakers?
Well, yeah, if you use the example that you just used, if LeBron goes back, Dwayne Wade comes out of retirement and can play like Flash, and if they had Shaq. I think when you talk about that, you have to give full context. They had Shaq, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron. So, no, that cannot happen and will not happen.
All right, he said it there. It cannot happen, will not happen. Remember, we need to point out that teams that go up 3-0 in a playoff series, undefeated in NBA history, perfect 140-0. Game 3 is tonight. And you know what, Chuck? Anytime you can compare someone to Ernie Johnson, that's a good day.